Okay, this feed is live now. Hello, everybody. I'm meteorologist Jeremy Capel, joining you this late Thursday afternoon, August the 27th. Appreciate you guys being on here for a live radar update and storm analysis as we are looking at thunderstorms across portions of New York State. Some have been strong to severe, and even a tornado threat across portions of the Empire State here today. So this feed is being simulcast to both YouTube and Facebook on this rather steamy and in some cases stormy here Thursday afternoon. I appreciate you guys being on. It's been a busy few days, of course, with the landfalling hurricane yesterday. I was up really late last night tracking that devastating storm as it came on shore of Louisiana and Texas. So hard hit. Not going to spend a lot of time on that particular storm, as again we have our hands full with the severe risk now paying a visit across portions of the Northeast, portions of the Great Lakes. I'm going to allow just another minute or two to let people come on in the door. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're living in the Rochester area, you've been looking at these storm clouds building around you for much of the afternoon. But so far, at least for most of the Rochester area, it hasn't panned out into thunderstorms. During this update, I'll let you know what to expect if there's going to be a risk of severe weather here across the Flower City. And we'll get right on over to your radar update here in just a moment. Again, we're both on YouTube and also on Facebook. Thank you for being here. New information coming in from the National Weather Service, updating their day one convective enhanced risk. There is an enhanced risk, at least for some friends. Let's jump on over to first look at your radar scan, and here's kind of a look of a broad picture of what's happening out there at this hour. Again, thunderstorms absolutely blossoming, coming down very hard across portions of the Finger Lakes as we speak, where there is a severe thunderstorm watch that has been posted for parts of the Finger Lakes as well. You will notice that the watch, which is painted there in the red shade, technically does not include Rochester, and I think there's a good reason for that. We'll discuss why in a moment. Further downstate, that's actually a tornado watch, and there have been several tornado warnings in effect as well. Parts of downstate and into portions of Massachusetts and Connecticut, particularly Connecticut, New Haven at last check. You were dealing with a tornado watch. Randy Shea says, check accident reports. Sounds like a great idea, Randy, and thank you for checking in, my friend. Let's go to ny511.org and see what they have to say. Okay, so all right, we'll have that information coming up here in just a couple of moments. Randy, if you got anything specific, any specific information, please pass along. Just going to provide, again, this update this afternoon showing you the storms. There is a storm threat. We'll have real-time analysis of radar coming up in a moment as well. Very humid atmosphere. Maybe you've noticed that. You stepped outside at all for any length today, you've noticed that. And that's resulted in these strong to severe thunderstorms, many of them severe. Looking at the active warnings that are in effect, we've got severe thunderstorm warning that is ongoing right now. That is southern Monroe County, southeastern Monroe County, but really far southern Monroe County. Rochester, you're not included in that, but that warning is for possibility of 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch sized hail. Also active warnings in effect for Livingston and Ontario counties. That goes until 5 p.m. Eastern, so for about an hour from now. And then okay, so also warning, which was more recently issued for Cuyahoga, Chautauqua, Erie, and Wyoming counties. That goes until 5:15. You can see all the activity, and further downstream where we've got that next batch of thunderstorms, they're now issuing warnings south of Buffalo for that. And again, this is for the possibility of 60-mile-per-hour winds and also some sizable hail with that, maybe up to 1 inch in diameter. Let me go to the last frame here. There is one active tornado warning that is into the state of Connecticut. I can show you the location here. You have to give me a moment for the actual radar information. That's here north of New Haven. I'll bring up the radar information for that coming up in just a couple of moments. In the meantime, I just wanted to get on here, give people a heads up. This is not going to be a huge event. For Rochester, it will be a non-event, I think. But for other parts of western New York, again, we are looking at that blossoming of severe thunderstorms. Right now, we've got about 190 people on our live Facebook page. Thank you for being here. If you don't mind a quick like or share of the program, it's always appreciated. Again, just doing a little special weather update. I know there was a lot of talk today. Some of the local stations out of Rochester were, doing what they do with their alerts. And in fact, that one station, the one that, I was formerly employed by, put out a red alert. Red alert. Red alerts, like worst case scenario. Rochester will end up with probably nothing out of this deal. However, there are some pretty tall thunderstorms to the south. Again, a plethora of warnings. So thank you for being on. We've got Janice and Briggs. We've got Allison, Pat, Colleen, Scott. He says, Scott Bristol, is it going to mess with cooking out? It depends on your location. Again, parts of the Finger Lakes right now are really getting it currently. Here's a look at our analyst radar. Take a closer up look. You can see proximity here. Rochester, you're fine. Rochester, there's no alerts. But Honeyway Falls, Leroy, Pavilion, these are all warnings. Canandaigua, you're under a warning as well. We'll investigate for wind and hail coming up in just a couple of moments. Let me put this into motion for you again. Analyst radar doing a great job of showing you what's happening. The next round of thunderstorms blasting into portions of South Buffalo right now. And then if we go downstate, and we'll check out this radar source here in Connecticut, where there's the possibility of well, they've got a tornado warning. Doesn't mean it's actually happening, but here you go. Tornado warning for central New Haven. That goes till 4:30, so about another 24 minutes. May take a gander at that. This is coming out of the radar there in Long Island, and we'll see what that looks like here in just a couple of moments. I'll let that populate, and we'll continue to talk to our friends that are on here right now. About 200 live on the program on Facebook. Again, we are multi-streaming this over to YouTube as well. For our friends over on YouTube, SPC Marion, thank you for being on here. Slow Mo on here. Cheryl Evans on here as well. And George Dole, afternoon everyone. Thank you very much for being on. If you don't mind a quick like of the program and maybe a share, it's always appreciated. Tracking strong and severe thunderstorms across the Northeast and the potential that there is for the potential there for severe weather, but also specifically hail, wind, and tornadoes. This is the actual threat for the overall severe threat, and you can see where they've got that slight risk for Monroe County, and then an enhanced risk. Enhanced. It's not like the end of the world, but it's, hey, there's a lot of humidity. There's a pretty strong front making its way into the area. You got good upper level support, so that's the reason we are seeing thunderstorms blossoming. As I suspected, many of the lake counties, including Rochester, kind of getting shadowed and not going to see that threat. This is the actual threat as far as wind potential is concerned, and certainly that higher risk downstate portions of the southern tier. So that's for wind. This is for hail, the hail risk in the hatch areas where you could have golf ball sized hail. It's possible, but that's going to be, again, I think we're south of Rochester at this point. And then the tornado risk, it's not a great one. They've got a 2% for the entirety of the area. Again, I would push that further south at this point. And then that's a 5% risk into the Finger Lakes and into the city. So New York City, into portions of the mid-Atlantic, including where that one tornado warning is in effect right now. I want to take a live look at analyst radar. There it is. This is in Connecticut. And ooh, I tell you what, that does have a pretty nasty signature on it. Let me back this up a frame or two, see what they're warning this thing on. It's got a nasty bowing segment. Let's see, I'm going to go into split panel mode here, going over to storm relative velocity. Let's get our velocity adjusted, and let's see if there's a real threat. And looking at near New Haven, pretty decent couplet. That is a decent couplet. It's a little broad, but man, we've got 50 mile an hour moving towards the radar site. You've got about 50 mile an hour moving away from the radar site. So broad rotation of about 100 miles per hour. That's up in the cloud. That's up there at about 2,500 feet. So that's actually a pretty decent sample. Okay, and there's the more recent image just coming in where they continue with that tornado warning. This is, again, pretty populated area. North Haven moving into East Haven. New Haven is going to miss, but just barely. And then look at the inroads on this. This is normalized rotation. Again, what you're looking at is a a split panel of radar reflectivity on the left, and then what we call normalized rotation on the right. And you can see it went just south of North Haven, the possibility of a tornado. Again, this is radar indicated. Let's see if I can get information up. Tornado warning, central New Haven County, goes until 4:30. So severe thunderstorm capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight line wind damage were located over North Haven or near Wellingford, moving southeast at 60 miles per hour. So this is a radar indicated tornado. All right, we'll come back to that. I want to make sure that we continue to cover our friends across the rest of the Great Lakes and western New York particularly, where we are seeing all types of thunderstorm activity. That much of the area blanketed by a severe thunderstorm watch. So let me see how long that watch goes until. That goes until 7 p.m. this evening. 7 p.m. So that watch is going to run for another 3 hours. That's 0Z UTC. Make that 8 p.m. this evening. Let me get my math right on that. And again, putting everything into motion for you here. And I'm going to come back over and see who we have in the program right now. Again, I appreciate our YouTubers liking and sharing the program. Facebook, we've got 200 live. Thank you very much. Scott Bristol, what's all the noise? I don't know. You may be hearing my computer running kind of heavy right now. I've got a lot of programs on it, so that could be part of it. Otherwise, how are we doing? How's the audio and how's the video? Let me know if it's just Scott that's getting a noise issue. Anybody else having an issue with the audio or the video? Dennis McFiggin's on, no problem at all. Dennis McFiggin's, you're back in the Brockport area. Is that correct, Dennis? Let's take a closer up look at what's happening across the Rochester area. And here's a look at the latest scan. Again, we've got those dark clouds. They've been going up across the Rochester area for a while now, but really, I don't think they have a lot of chance of making its way north. I will take a look at Futurecast coming up here in a few minutes. But Brockport, Spencerport, Hilton, Churchville, Greece, Irondequoit, Rochester, Webster, you're in the clear. You're in the clear. You've got a couple of little echoes trying to pop up a little bit. Go back a frame or two here. But you can see the activity is focusing itself to the south, and we'll show you why. I'll show you why in just a moment. Patty says audio and video good in West Irondequoit. Thank you very much. All right, no noise for Julie. Janine says it sounds good. All right, good. Kathy also says sounds good. Appreciate that. Paul on here. Here in Rolling Thunder, west of Scottsville towards Caledonia, and there are storms again. Make your way far southern Monroe County, but really it's Livingston County and into Ontario County. All this continues to develop here as we speak. It is about 4:12, 12 minutes after 4. Some people may be getting off work right about now. Maybe you're thinking about what you're going to do for dinner. Thinking about grilling out. In most parts of the area, it looks very favorable for grilling out. Other parts, not so much. You can see where the thunderstorms are developing. We'll go to an updated Futurecast radar coming up here in just a couple of moments. I want to show you what this looks like, though, from a satellite perspective. And you can see these storms that are blowing up. Pretty good upper level winds. That's the reason some of these storms have grown to severe. And we do have a lot of humidity. You probably felt that, and so we'll show that coming up. So interesting perspective, because we've got a couple of things going on. Here's the front dragging itself across from New England back across the central Great Lakes. This will drag itself to the south, but also to the south. You can't miss that feature down there. That, of course, is what's left of Hurricane Laura, now I believe downgraded to a tropical storm. Came on shore last night as a powerful Category 4 storm. So a very strong storm came on shore last night. Unfortunately, some devastation that they're dealing with across portions of the southeast. This is what's left of Laura. We'll take a look at the visible here, and we'll get the latest information on Laura for you in a moment, but just want to sit back and look at that as it's going to lift north towards the Ohio Valley, and then it's going to shift east. You hear that? That's a new warning coming in. Whenever you hear that screech, that means they're talking about tornadoes possible. Birmingham, excuse me, Binghamton says severe thunderstorm warning in effect for, I believe it's Schuyler, right? Or is it Schuyler? Schuyler County, Seneca, Steuben, and Yates. That goes until 4:30. Tornado possible, 70-mile-per-hour winds. So that goes for about another 15 minutes. So again, that's a quick look at what was happening in the tropics. Here's a look up here across the northeast, where you have that blossoming, visible satellite showing you where those thunderstorms are blowing up, just billowing and blowing up with some of those stronger winds that we have aloft outside right now. Let's go on back to our friends down in Connecticut, where there is an active tornado warning that remains in effect also until 4:30. Let me bring back on storm relative velocity. And it looks like that circulation is not as well defined as it was, and it's also beginning to run outside of the polygon. So the tornado threat maybe not as great as it was. That storm, though, it's got great tops, 45, 46,000 feet, and then it's got pretty good hail potential with that as well, showing those bills, or it's a vertically integrated liquid, making its way again near North Haven, just to the east of New Haven. But I think that storm is on the way out. We'll continue to monitor for our friends that are perhaps picking us up out of the mid-Atlantic or New England. Here closer to home, you can see the thunderstorms that are taking off. New warning issued for Buffalo. So let's see what they're saying. This is Buffalo. Severe thunderstorm warning issued. There it is. All right, and so that is for 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch sized hail. So we'll come on over, we'll investigate this storm a little bit more for our friends out of the Buffalo market. And yeah, it looks like a pretty nasty thunderstorm. And we've got the radar information that we'll be able to verify what those winds are doing out there as well. Okay, from the Hurricane Center, the last update was from a couple of hours ago. Winds associated with Laura, Tropical Storm Laura, down to 65-mile-per-hour sustained. Minimum pressure is up to 988 millibars. Still a gusty storm, and it is producing some pretty terrible flooding. So we'll have more information on that coming up here in just a couple of minutes. All right, with that being said, what time is it? It is 4:17. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on autopilot for just a moment as we take care of a little business here around our home. We've got, let's see, make sure I'm talking to our friends, about 236 people live in the program. Give me just a moment. I'm going to keep radar up, and I'll be back here in just a moment. Okay, back here after a short break and tracking again severe thunderstorms across the portions of western New York, getting clobbered right now. And again, well, we were looking at that tornado risk earlier, so that seems to be diminishing somewhat for Connecticut. So the question is, could we see some circulations developing across western New York, which remains to be seen, but we'll be watching for that coming up here in just a couple of moments. Cheryl Evans on the YouTube says audio and video is excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Slow-mo Moon Buggy says, I personally don't believe anything on television anymore. And I don't blame you. I do not blame you at all. Yeah, that's one thing I don't miss about not being on TV anymore, is that I get to say how I feel, you know? And I don't have any pressure coming from people in the newsroom, people coming from management tell me how I should run my weather office. I don't have to deal with that anymore. I just run it the way I see it. And as a meteorologist, try to stick with the facts. Facts of the matter is that today is a thunderstormy day. There's a slight risk of severe weather across almost all of western New York. Slight risk, slight risk. Do you guys understand when the Storm Prediction Center issues their categorical risks? You know, it goes from general to marginal to slight to enhanced to moderate to high. Okay, so these are the categories. You got about 6 categories of different varieties of thunderstorms. But when you have a slight risk, that means your risk is small. It's a risk, and we'll cover it as necessary. But I find it comical when you have local television stations that pride themselves on integrity and being honest with the viewers, and they're calling it a red alert day. Come on, really? For a thunderstorm? In Rochester, wanting to see a thunderstorm, you're going to miss. Red alert day for a thunderstorm? Come on. But we do have storms. They are severe, and we are looking out for that damaging wind potential across the Finger Lakes, Buffalo area, southern tier. New information right now coming in from the National Weather Service. Severe thunderstorm warning for Livingston and Monroe County. So again, far southern Monroe County. That's for 60-mile-per-hour wind and hail. I mean, they're warning all of these. I just have not seen that many reports. I'd like to see, though, if you've got a report, feel free to drop it on this feed. If you've got a report of some wind damage or some hail, hit me on Twitter. I'll be actively following these, so find me on Twitter. Let's see, make sure that I did get this current stream that's up. It is up. And I don't see any reports yet, but I'm going to check the rest of my social media. And this is what we're seeing. There we go. News 10 this morning. News 10, red alert. Oh, no, you know what? Let me show you. Let me show you. This is a red alert day. It's a red alert. This is part of the reason that, gosh, I'm so glad I'm out. I'm so glad I'm out of TV. This is the stuff they were trying to push when I was there. I was resisting. I was like, no, that's being dishonest. Why are you doing this? The public doesn't need this type of dishonesty. But there they go. This is for Rochester. A red alert. They need a little beacon that goes whoop, whoop, whoop. Really? Yeah, for thunderstorms, a red alert. What is the risk? I'm not seeing anything. It says even on their verbiage in this red alert day, they've got early afternoon thunderstorms. Okay, it's a thunderstorm. Highest risk. Okay, but what's the risk? Damaging wind, hail, low risk of tornado. Okay, so anytime you get a thunderstorm that's capable of breaking off a tree branch, does that qualify as a red alert? I'm just asking. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I get tired of watching news be dishonest with its viewers. And it is. It's deceptive and it's manipulative because what they're trying to do is trying to make you scared. Trying to make you scared of the weather so you come back to their exclusive resources, which none of it's exclusive. None of it. It's all available. If you know where to go, maybe you have to pay a small fee for a subscription service such as I've got here. and such I get to share with you. But you don't need a television station to tell you how to act or react to weather. You get to decide. You need to go to a meteorologist that will just spell it out for you. Facts are facts. So I'm being factual with you. I always have been, and I always will be. All right, with that being said, we're moving on with the program. It's about 4:24. We've got about 170 people live on the Facebook feed. Thank you very much. Again, the main threat is well south of Rochester. I've got Jack Allen. Jack Allen in the house. That's Rochester TV Archive. I was having trouble with Facebook, so I hopped over here. Haven't seen any damage. Strong gusty winds with healthy rain, but nothing extreme. And Jack, I appreciate you, and I can't wait to catch up real soon. Jack, for those that don't know, is located out of Canandaigua. And he also runs Rochester TV Archive. You can find him on both Facebook and also on YouTube. So check him out. And good to see you today, Jack. All right, so here we are. Thunderstorms blossoming. We have many warnings. I doubt these all verify, but you know, could you get some peak gust of around 60 miles per hour? Yes, you can. And in fact, I'm about to come over to our analyst radar, and we'll take a look at what's happening with these thunderstorms across western New York in real time. And let me come back over to our Buffalo site, and I'll have that up for you on analyst coming up in just one moment. It should just take me a moment to get that information up for you. In the meantime, let's see where we stand with the program. It's 4:25. And yeah, this was kind of an unscheduled thing, but I felt it was appropriate considering the fact that, well, shoot, you know, some local stations have really been talking this day up, right? So thought we'd get on here. But, you know, truth be told, we have had storm clouds bubbling up around us. We've got some ingredients for severe weather. In parts of the area, certainly seeing strong to potentially severe thunderstorms. So we're on. Why are we on? Because we can be on. We can be on at any time. See, they're not likely to be on right now. Why? Remember, it's a red alert day because they have programming. They have I don't remember what they aired during this 4 o'clock hour, but they have a program that airs commercials that pays them. When they start blowing out commercials to cover severe thunderstorms, well, they start losing money, and they don't want to do that. Of course, there's not a whole lot. Yeah, they just don't want to do that. I did say I was going to move on, right? Okay, I'm working on that. There you go. Big picture. Again, looking at Buffalo radar. The big deal here is we've got a front, multiple pieces to the front. And that is that we've got this front that's kind of dragging itself right there across the Finger Lake. It's waiting on a low, and that's a pretty good meso low making its way right there through Buffalo. So this low pressure, and I would say if there's a tornado risk, if there's a legitimate tornado risk, and it's an if, it's going to arrive with this low. So out ahead of it, it's going to zip down this way. That front should slowly sag south. So the actual tornado risk will move to the south with it. So this is the latest and greatest radar. We're going to go over to analyst radar in a moment. I'm going to make sure I've got my velocity set on here for you. All right, so that looks like we are good. We are set to go. And we'll have that. All right, we'll go to analyst radar now. We've got 193 people live with the program. Thank you very much for being here. We've got Scott, we've got Kevin, Kathy, and my dog is following me wherever I go. Scared. Kathy's dog is scared. Tell your puppy to quit watching News 10. Just quit, okay? And then you won't have as much to be scared about. I'm joking. Janice Briggs. No, I'm not joking about not watching 10. That part is real. Janice Briggs. Jeremy is the only weather I listen to and watch. Oh, Janice, thank you. And thank you very much for being here. I've got Scott Bristol. We've got Pat. Thank you, Jeremy. Love your accurate weather reporting. Well, I appreciate that. Getting a little bit of bonus time today. I love unschedules. The unschedules. Is that right there, Don? Good to have you, Don. Don and his right-hand man. Patrick Maloney in the house. Christina, very disappointed with this thunderstorm. Christina, what is your location? And meanwhile, we're looking at analyst radar. Right now, I'm going to bring it back over to the single panel, and we want to diagnose what's happening out here. So let's take a look at some of these thunderstorms. Are they producing potentially severe winds? Well, let's investigate. I'm looking at peak winds of about 45 knots. 45 knots, that's about 52 miles per hour, 51 mile per hour. And that's also up at about 2,000 feet. So that doesn't look too severe. But we'll keep looking. We've got, again, about 40-45 knots. Not severe, south of Livonia. So the winds, they don't look ferocious. Let's check for hail. We've got some pockets of hail. A little pocket of hail north of Pavilion. What is that highway? That highway, I believe, is it State Road 63? All right, so you got a pocket of hail along State Road 63, northwest of Pavilion. Maybe pea-sized hail. South of Geneseo, maybe up to an inch showing up on our radar size. So about an inch in either one of those two areas. Getting a little bit of hail, but not a tremendous amount. All right, so let's take a cross-section of these storms. See what it looks like if you just slice them in half. All right, here we go. Let's go right through this one in Pavilion. It looks pretty tall. There we go. Let me bring this up so you can see what I'm looking at. And let's see, where's that cross-section analysis? It's here. There's the cross-section. Okay, you see what we're doing here? We're just kind of cutting right through that storm. So this cross-section is the storm approaching Pavilion with a hail threat. So I'm going to put this into motion for you. Ooh, I covered myself up. That's probably a good thing. All right, and then we can just move this up and down. Up and down. Let's get the right angle. What are we looking at? Let's move this up and down the thunderstorm. Echo tops. About 45, close to 50,000 feet echo tops. That's pretty healthy thunderstorm, and I do see evidence of a vaulted core right there. So, vaulted core. What is a vaulted core, you may ask? I think that's a very good question. When you see this area of higher returns, let's see, where's my telestrator? How come it's not working? Oh, because it's, I know why. Telestrator, go to the top. There we go. There's that vaulted core. Let me do that again. So the vaulted core basically is when the radar is looking up and down within the thunderstorm and it sees a large amount of volume of precipitation that has not fallen. It's up in the sky. It's heavier, it's denser than what it's picking up elsewhere in the storm. Oftentimes that can be a sign of hail. And so I think that's what we're seeing is some of that hail, that vaulted core. And looking elsewhere up and down it, I don't see anything too threatening. It's a tall thunderstorm. These are noisy thunderstorms. They're going to come with very heavy downpours. They're going to come with frequent lightning, and the potential is there for it to bring down some of these, bring down some of those winds aloft. And when that happens, and if that happens, then you could cause some problems. But anyway, that's the reason why we do have active severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect. And with that being said, let's go on over to our other radar source. Take a look maybe across the bigger picture across the Great Lakes here on this rather murky Thursday afternoon. Picking up some sunshine across parts of the area. Here we go, putting that into motion. Whoop, come back here. Come back. There we go. All right, all this into motion for you again, waiting on that wave of low pressure to travel through. And as that does so, that will bring an end to the severe threat for western New York, the Finger Lakes, and also into the southern tier. So let's see if we've got any new warnings downwind. So for Connecticut, you've got some severe thunderstorm warnings for parts of Long Island. You've got severe thunderstorm warnings, but I don't see any more active tornado warnings like was issued earlier. So Garden variety strong to severe thunderstorms. What we're looking at right here at this moment. Okay, we've got about 150 people live on the program. Thank you, as always, for being here. If you don't mind a quick like or share. Also for our friends over on our YouTube channel, thank you for being here as well. Greetings, citizens, says Bruce Wayne. Thank you for being here. Of course, Jack. Yep, well, it's been a busy couple of days. Jack Allen from Rochester TV Archives over on the YouTube channel right now. Yeah, I'm looking at it and I'm actively scanning for any, again, any warnings or, excuse me, any damage reports. If you have one, please pass along so I can share. All we know is that the threat is south of Rochester. We also know that there will be a limited tornado risk as this wave of low pressure travels along the front into the Finger Lakes. And that'll occur here over the next hour to maybe 2 hours to come. Otherwise, we're looking fine. I'm scanning my local weather feed, and all I've got is like a bazillion, warnings that are passed along by each of the TV stations. And it's not just each of the TV stations that passes along; it's each one of their personalities. So if you've got a TV station with 4 weather personalities per se, and you've got like 3 stations, so 4 personalities per station times 3 stations, it's 12. It's 12 personalities. And then each one of them automatically bots out these warnings as they come in on Twitter. And so I literally get 12 warnings on my Twitter, and they're all exactly the same. And it is what it is. Rainfall's been good though. The rainfall's been very generous in some cases. We are seeing some flash flooding. In fact, an aerial flood warning was just issued. This does cover southern portions of Ontario County, northern Steuben County, or is that Allegheny? Steuben County, parts of Seneca, Schuyler, and Yates County. It is Schuyler, right? I think I called it Schuler earlier, but I think I was wrong on that. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. So there's that. Let's take a look at your Futurecast radar, showing that line generally dragging south, waiting for a ripple of low pressure, and then all of this moves away from us. Let's see what we've got. Currently on the YouTube, we've got Bruce and Jack and Cheryl. Thanks for stopping by. And then on our Facebook feed right now, we've got Kevin and Scott, Patrick on here as well. We've got Kevin, Jim Perry, appreciate you, Carol Rainers, Janice Briggs, Robin Kuman. Robin, thank you. I mean, if you're going to blow my horn, let me read what you're read what you're saying. Jeremy has the best graphics and does a great job at teaching what is happening with the weather. Robin, thank you. And I try. Weather's been a passion of mine since I was probably too young to speak. I was fortunate enough to get into a school that did meteorology, like for real meteorology, Purdue University, and then I was fortunate enough to be able to get into the field, work in it for almost 20 years. I've worked in a half dozen different states. I've worked in Indiana, Kentucky, Mississippi, Texas, Kansas, prior to New York. Have followed the weather for a long, long time, my whole life, and it's very cool to be able to do this in kind of a different format, a little different way than what TV would allow. Have you ever chased one? Says James, asking Robin. Robin, I don't believe she has, but I told her I'd take her next, first good opportunity we have. So, yeah, who knows? Who knows? So let's take another look, see what the Storm Prediction Center is saying. See if we can't get new updates from them. Should have the new, the new risk maps have just come out. I'm going to download these for you. Actually, I should be able to show you these to you in real time. So, SPC, Storm Prediction Center, is changing its convective forecast for the remainder of the day today. And this will actually, and there we go. That should be up right now. Here you go. The convective risk, and this is right. You see, all they did was they trimmed out the lake counties. Right there. They took it out. That was all yellow, and they took it out. Why did they take it out? Well, because there's no risk. There's no risk at all, really, for Rochester. It's all going to be south of that boundary. And so they're keeping that enhanced risk into portions of the Finger Lakes, and we'll watch that area. This is the area that I think if there could be something tornadic, it would occur. Let's see what their tornado risk is, and here it is. Got that 5% into the Finger Lakes, and that also goes downstate. About 5% risk, so that's this area here. They're showing that 2% to Rochester. What you can't get a tornado without a thunderstorm. So I don't see that actually happening for Rochester. There's a pretty healthy wind risk, and that hatched area there. That's the chance of significant straight line wind problems. And you can see some of the verbiage associated with this. Talking about, CAPE on the order of 1 to 2,000 units. That's okay. That's enough to cause some pretty, that is fuel for thunderstorms. They will be healthy. And we're also talking about some upper level winds. Take a look at those upper level winds here. All right, so this is 500 millibar winds right now. I'm going to take you up to 250 millibars. And this is, again, some of the ingredients that we look at when it comes to potential for strong and severe. And you can also, it's interesting to see the interaction between the tropical system too. This is the influence of the tropical system here, all of that. And what we have going over our area right now, these fast westerly winds, very fast. In fact, in some cases those winds are upwards of 175 knots. So very fast for this time of the year. And so that those upper level winds can help thunderstorms in different ways. It can help them organize. I'm looking for any veering. It's very linear though. Everything is westerly above 700 millibar. You get down to 850, it's west as well. There's not a lot of veering, which means that at least in the upper levels. And at the surface, we're still, a lot of, most of the wind is out of the west right now. This is interesting though, because that is the actual, what's left of the hurricane. You're seeing that circulation in near real time across portions of northern Louisiana, now southern Arkansas. But that's what's left of Laura. Interesting. Okay, we've got about 112 on the Facebook. We've got 9 hanging out on YouTube right now. Again, just updating that severe risk across the area.
Is it going to rain?
My wife is in here. She wants to know if it's going to rain. I mean, what, do I look like a meteorologist? I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. I think we're good. I think if anything were to occur in Webster, it'd be very brief. Maybe a quick little couple sprinkles, very brief downpour.
Like if I was to go for a walk right now / run.
Yeah, I think you're good. You're going to be sweating it because it's still very humid.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Do you have any words of advice for our friends that are on here right now?
I am really not keeping up to date
No?
on what's going on.
No? Well, we're just doing weather right now.
Okay.
No, what can we tease ahead towards the show tonight? Come on in. Come on in. Come on, sit down, lovely. Come on. She comes in here, she wants a weather report. Guess what? She's going to give you.
Listen, I am just here
What are we
to
discussing
see if I
tonight?
can go for a walk.
Come on in. What are we discussing tonight?
I
think we've got some news items.
We've got plenty of news items.
Got more information coming out from the investigation into Mayor Warren. Could be potentially explosive, huge
Hun,
news.
please stop because I get excited and then
Anyway, we will be discussing that.
We're praying on that right now. Currently, I think after the news yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
I want justice for Rochester,
Of course.
and I think in order to get that, she needs she needs to be held accountable.
I think so. I think just like I needed to be held accountable for stumbling over my words, she should be held accountable at least for something,
Yeah,
right?
I would think
For
surely
something.
there's something that yeah. Again,
So,
so that I guess we'll discuss that tonight. And what's for dinner? Am I cooking
oh,
tonight or you?
I've been doing a lot of work lately. I don't know if you've noticed this.
Meanwhile, I just cleaned both
Mm,
bathrooms,
oh, oh, okay.
vacuumed,
Thank you, by the way.
and I'm trying to
Well,
pack this house up. But
yeah, well, there's that. There's that. So,
I say we just get some pizza.
I'm easy tonight. Going into the
You're
weekend.
always
I'm looking at
easy.
the local news feed. Well, what's that supposed to mean? That sounds highly inappropriate.
All right, this is our PG version. Anything before
There we go.
9.
There we go.
How's it going?
News 10 is reporting a tree has fallen on a road near Livonia.
Okay.
They issued a red alert for this.
That's what you told me.
A red alert, and now there's a tree down.
I'll
So
tell you,
they verified. There's
maybe
their red alert.
Fake news alert.
Oh my gosh! Don't get me started again. I did go on a bit of a rant during this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, we do have active severe thunderstorm warnings. We're going to get back to that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be happy to have you back on the program. 8:45 tonight. For those that don't necessarily regularly watch us, be sure to tune in. That's Weather Live at 8:45. Oftentimes like 8:52.
I was going to say, we've been running a little late,
We're working on
as
it.
we often do. Something we're working on.
Yes, sometime shortly prior to 9 o'clock. You can expect us. In force, we'd love to have you. On YouTube, well, we'd kind of do as the weather
Is Jack
allows.
Allen on?
Jack is on the YouTube.
Well, why didn't you say so?
Oh, I should have led with that, apparently.
I would have been
Yeah.
down here. I actually did.
He
see
was
that
providing
on.
reports.
I liked one of his comments when I was watching earlier.
Jack says he may have to stay awake for tonight's show. Pizza sounds good.
Jack,
think you
we
made up my
missed
mind.
you just a little bit, just a little.
All right. Well,
Actually, a lot.
Hopefully we
Okay.
get to see him. And
I
catch
will
up
try
with
to
him.
remain calm.
Pizza does kind of sound good.
Pizza sounds really good.
When does pizza sound bad, though? You know? When does pizza sound bad? Yeah, Scott says 9. 9-ish.
9-ish, right, Kevin?
Hey,
Kevin knows, and
we're gonna
Scott does too.
We're gonna go on early tonight, just to
We'll
surprise,
be on it.
just to prove everybody wrong.
Well, technically, you're already on, so does this count?
Kathy Major says enjoying a vodka lemonade right now.
Woo,
Where's mine?
wow.
Where's mine? It is almost 5 o'clock.
I mean, it's almost 5 o'clock.
I want
In Kathy's world, it already is.
I
It's 5
want
o'clock somewhere.
my vodka lemonade.
Ugh.
That sounds good. What do you call it? Vodka lemonade with a little bit of Sprite, maybe a spritzer. Doesn't need to be.
That sounds like a good summer drink, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
that'd be fun. A little side of lime. I don't
Alright,
know.
well,
Jim Perry, toasted ham and cheese with homemade tomato soup.
That sounds really good too, actually.
I think so.
I could go for that.
I think so. So, hey, let's dig in and look at these thunderstorms. You're going to be able to walk in.
I'm going to go for a walk.
Maybe I'll meet you around the other side of the block whenever we wrap things up here.
Bye, guys.
She's out. You'll
Oh,
see
that's
her
okay.
later.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Find her on Facebook. That's AK Lisa Ray. And then, yeah, anyway. Very cool. Very cool. Let's get back on into some radar tracking. And again, we're waiting on this next wave that's making its way through the area. Let me take off those special marine warnings. It just kind of clogs my vision. And they've warned the living hell out of this thing. I mean, they're warning everything, but I don't see the verification. I'm not seeing the verification. Let me know what you guys are seeing. I keep looking on here, and I'm just not seeing it. I don't see one storm report coming from the National Weather Service out of Buffalo. Not a single storm report. Now, we know from that station says there may be a tree down on a road in Livonia. Does that warrant all of these warnings? Certainly, does it warrant a red alert? Don, geez, Lisa, why don't you get as excited about my being on? You, Don, I'm excited every time you're on, friend. Come on, I'm going to give her a hard time. I'm going to let her know you said that. Yeah, Kathy says it's 5 o'clock somewhere. One of my favorite songs ever. The Alan Jackson tune, especially when he's pairing up with Jimmy Buffett. All right, so thunderstorms making the way across the area. Let's go back over to analyst radar. David Gully, they got all the drivers back early because of the impending doom. Impending doom. And by doom, we mean showers with claps of thunder. Dun 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 dun! But, that's the state that we're in nowadays, Everything is so huge. The biggest news story ever. And oftentimes, not a news story at all. That's just the way we roll. Okay, looking at these storms, I'm going to go ahead and go into a two-panel, taking a look side by side. We've got velocity located on the right-hand corner. Not necessarily seeing any good couplets right now, which is it's a signature that we look for in case there may be a tornado threat. I'm not really seeing it right now, but we'll continue to watch. As everything is moving off towards the east, sliding off to the south and east. Pretty healthy thunderstorm, though. That one near Geneseo Pavilion, as we've been tracking for you. A little feeder band. I think it's having some interaction along a lake breeze coming off of Lake Erie. And so that's going to be a focus there. But again, seeing wind, but I'm not seeing any real tight couplets at all. So really not a whole lot to be concerned about there. Let's look at ETs. These are echo tops. How high these thunderstorms are poking their heads. About 50,000 feet. No, 45. There may be a few up there, close to 50. So they're tall. Tall thunderstorms feeding off of this super rich atmosphere when it comes to dew points. Dew point temperatures, by the way, are up around 70 degrees. 70. Take a look. So this is coming in from the New York Mesonet. Temperature, dew point's at 70. That's icky, and that is sticky. Meanwhile, we've got actual air temperatures right now running in the 80s and 70s, even some 60s, where you've got some of that rain-cooled air. High today's coming in, ranging low to mid 80s for most of western New York. Let's see precipitation. Since this morning, got that pocket there, and that does not include the aerial flood watch, but you do have 1.5 inches showing up at some of these mesonet sites. That does include parts of Genesee and Livingston counties. See that batch of thunderstorms tracking off to the east and south. It's broaden our view, look downstate. I'm going to bring on more radar information. We can run right on into Long Island. Here we go. Southampton, you got a thunderstorm moving in. Severe thunderstorm warning for the Hamptons, people. That's where all the rich people hang out, as I understand. New Haven, that's a severe thunderstorm warning for you. It's hot in the city, though. 91 degrees coming in from Manhattan. 91 in Manhattan right now. It's 88 in Danbury, but it's only 72 in Myers Corner. That's because they've got a rain-cooled 72. New severe thunderstorm warning was just issued. It says tornado possible. This is coming in from Binghamton. That's for Broome, Tioga. Tioga, is that right? Is that a real county? Tioga and oh, that's a tough one. Susquehanna. Somebody correct me. Susquehanna County. Hopefully I'm in the ballpark. And going to get a lot of rain, and I think flooding is a real risk here. Looking at those rainfall rates across portions of the Finger Lakes, boy, they are up there. I mean, it is absolutely coming down. And we'll go back on over to, we'll look at these rainfall rates a little closer up in a moment. Here's a look at the visible satellite imagery. Very telling of what's occurring right now. That we've got a front making its way across the area. Here it is. That front will sag south. We'll be on the other side of the front tomorrow with high pressure moving in, and looks like a pretty nice finish to the week. So tomorrow looks okay. And then late tomorrow night, it backs back up. And you can already see where those winds are varying back here. So you head towards late day tomorrow, and all of this begins to come back in our direction. So late tomorrow night, and then into Saturday morning, I expect rain and thunderstorms to occur. Of course, all this down here, that's associated, that's blow off from what was former Category 4 Hurricane Laura, now downgraded to a tropical storm. Tropical storm Laura currently is what we're tracking over the south right now. Devastating effects, and we'll talk about some of that during the big show tonight, whether live at 8:45-ish. You know what that means. Maybe a little later than that. Kathy on here. Guess I was looking for Purell with the pump. Nothing out there has pumps. Okay. Okay. So I said it correctly? Susquehanna. Thank you. Susquehanna. It took me a couple of times for sure. People are looking for hand sanitizer on the Facebook page. Okay. All right. Very good. Let me know. Is it Aldi? Is that the place to go? And then over on the YouTube, Jack is talking. He says it's hard to see because of all the clutter on the map, but there is a flash flood warning for Batavia, Leroy, and Caledonia. I thought that was an aerial flood advisory. Has it been upgraded to a flash flood warning? Thank you, Jack. Let me see. I gotta make sure I've got it on. Flash flood warning. Where are you at? Oh, I see it. Yeah, it doesn't show very well, does it? All right, let me turn everything else off. Focus on this area that Jack is talking about. Okay, off, there it is. So this is a flash flood warning, and that is that same area that I was showing you on the Mesonet that showed 1.5 inches. It could be closer to 2 to 3 inches of rain in some areas. So I'm trying to remember, Jack, if I've actually got a radar product on here that shows approximate amount of rain. I'm looking. I'm trying to remember if that's going to be a level 3 product. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, and let's see if we've got. No, I'm not seeing that either. It's got on the level 3. We've got some dual pole. Oh, precipitation. Here we go. Yep, got it. All right. Let's see rainfall amounts. How much are they talking about? That doesn't look right. Let's go storm total precip dual pole. Okay, that looks better. All right, let's see what we're getting here. It's probe. Yeah, okay, so this is it. This is where they're showing you some of those heavier totals. So within that flash flood warning, and thanks to Jack Allen for pointing this out, I would have missed it. Level 3, choose precip. I use total dual pole. Okay, that's what I've got. It looks good, actually. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. We'll share this later on, or we'll do an update later. But locally, 2.5 to 3 inches south of Batavia. Leroy, Caledonia, also within that warning where you're looking at 2.5 local spikes, around 2.5 inches of rain. Avon, again, somewhere around 2.5. So widespread 2 to 3 inches of rain over portions of Genesee and now northern Livonia County. So we'll continue to monitor that. Look out for rising waters. If you see some, please pass it along. Please pass along your reports. It is always appreciated. Okay, I didn't show that, did I? Whoops, I thought I was showing that. I was not showing that. Now I'm showing that. This is why we need a live producer. Target and Henrietta had Germex last night. That's good to know. Lori, thank you. I will not try to pronounce your last name. Tempting, but I'm not going to try it. Again, looking at rainfall totals, and you can see Rochester, this is last night, picked up 1/4 inch on average. Parts of the area totally missed on the rainfall though. Like out towards Brockport, you got little of nothing in Albion. So you really missed there. But other areas seeing a lot of rain. Canandaigua seeing its share. Just north of Canandaigua got a spike of about 2 inches of rain. Again, that flood warning. See if we can see that a little bit better. I'm going to turn off the radar data. There you go. That's where the flood warning is. And anyway, we'll finish up this program coming up here in just a few minutes. I just wanted to make sure everybody had a heads up going into their evening what was happening weather-wise across the region. And certainly seeing our share of thunderstorms. And with that, mainly, south of the city, as we've been talking about. Again, I'm seeing very little evidence that these have been severe. Thunderstorms, yes. Severe, they're warning. There's a lot of warnings out there, but I'm just not seeing the evidence that these are severe. Okay? Let's go. This is the warning information. It's just overkill. There's warnings everywhere, but again, is any of this verifying? And I know that these warnings, they're for wind and hail. 60-mile-per-hour wind, which is minimum threshold for a severe thunderstorm, and 1-inch hail, which is also minimum threshold for severe. But I'm just not seeing it. Flooding is, in my opinion, the main risk. Flash flooding. You pick up 2-3 inches of rain real quick, this is going to be a problem. Scott Bristol said, going to see you 9-ish. It's probably about right, but I'm going to try to surprise you tonight, maybe Scott. He's thrown down the gauntlet. Let's go back over to our other source, and again, we're looking for anything suggestive that it's severe. I think they're warning based on these echo tops at 45 to 50,000 feet. But that doesn't always translate. It just does not always translate. I don't think it's translating today. I just don't think these are severe. I'm looking at 50-mile-per-hour winds right now at an elevation of 2,100 feet south of Caledonia. That's not that fast. 45-mile-per-hour gust at 2,000 feet. That's nothing to be alarmed about. Here's a 50-mile-per-hour gust, but this is at 5,000 feet. 5,500 feet. So again, it's not severe. None of this is severe from what I'm seeing. These are thunderstorms. Whatever happened to a good old-fashioned thunderstorm? Do you guys remember that? I grew up with good old-fashioned thunderstorms. Keep in mind, I didn't grow up in Western New York. I grew up in Indiana. But you had thunderstorms. And they didn't need to come with warnings. They were thunderstorms. A thunderstorm, by definition, brings downpours of rain, lightning and thunder, and some gusty winds. Right? Thunderstorms do that. Rain, heavy, lightning and thunder, wind gusts, enough to knock down some limbs, right? Tree branches. That's a thunderstorm. Why are we calling everything severe? Why? Why is everything sensationalized? Why is everything over the top? These are the questions I have. If you guys have answers, please tell me. Please tell me. Again, the tornado risk, I don't see it happening at this point. These thunderstorms, even closer to that little meso low, are falling apart. They're not holding, and they're not warning, putting out different warnings either. It is what it is. It's going to go away. But anyway, I did want to cover, since other media's kind of talked today up, and the Weather Service is warning everything. So I wanted to make sure that we were on, that we had a presence on here today. Don, well, Jeremy, maybe they're not old-fashioned. Right. The new fashion is to warn everything. Everything is doom and gloom. Everything is the end of the world. Everything is historic. We've never seen a landfalling hurricane before. I'm being facetious. I did see some medias that were trying to compare Hurricane Laura, which was a nasty, nasty storm. I tracked it all night long. But they were trying to compare Hurricane Laura with the Great Galveston hurricane of 1900. And if you know anything about hurricane history, that one goes down as the most deadly and potentially destructive that we've ever seen. It's not even close. It was like 10,000 people dead. That's Galveston, 1900. That's a huge chunk of their population at the time. And some of the media, being media, trying to compare Hurricane Laura with the Great Galveston Hurricane of 1900. Why? You know why. Ratings. Ratings. All right. With that being said, we'll take one final check of everything, and then we'll get off your Facebook and your YouTube feeds. Our YouTube friends, thank you for being here. As always, great to see Jack. He says, new warning for here, nothing even tracking in this direction. Let me see that warning that they're talking about. And, oh, I see it, Jack. I do see it. I mean, yeah, I'm not even trying to keep track at this point because it's just warning everything. But you guys are familiar with the boy that cried wolf, right? Right? You guys with me? The story about the boy that cried wolf. He kept crying wolf, and finally one day the wolf came. He cried wolf, and nobody believed him. And the wolf came and ate everybody. Eventually, you're going to get a really bad thunderstorm, and they're going to call it a severe thunderstorm. You're like, well, what's a severe thunderstorm? I thought a severe thunderstorm was a thunderstorm. They were all the same. No, they're not supposed to be. Severe thunderstorm is supposed to be a higher category reserved for when damaging winds and hail and potential tornadoes occur. That's why a damaging thunderstorm is a severe thunderstorm. These thunderstorms are not damaging, therefore should not be considered severe. Just my opinion. And until I see proof otherwise. Jack says sensationalism takes away from when there is actually a significant threat. Boy cried wolf. That's what Jack is saying, and I 100% agree. Now my wife was asking, is it going to rain? We've got showers popping up across the Webster area, portions of Ontario, Monroe County. Some showers, they're definitely not severe. Okay, if they pop a warning over Ontario County, I'm going to have to call, or Wayne County, excuse me, I'm going to have to call the Weather Service and give them a piece. Anyway, those guys work hard. They work their tails off. So I don't mean to overly criticize, but we all kind of could use a little critiquing here and there, right? Every one of us in different arenas that we work can always get better. So Pat says to scare people and sensationalize their ratings. Right? They want to hype. Kathy on here. My husband hates it when they sensationalize the weather and then nothing happens. Dun 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 dun. And in case you missed it earlier, it aggravates me. It does. It aggravates me. But I was talking earlier. There's a certain channel in town. Jack, were you here for this discussion? I'm going to show it. I'm going to show it again. There's a certain TV station in town, TV station that if you err at all, you could be fired. Definitely fired if you stumble over your words at times and it's perceived as something else. You could be fired if you don't get it exactly right. I want to know why people aren't fired over bullshit like this. That's right. I did say BS. I'm calling BS on all of this. Are you freaking kidding? Today's a red alert day. Red alert. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Why? Well, let's see here. Red alert. Severe storms. Red alert. A red alert? That sounds terrible. And according to their 3-tier system, which I coached them on, green means good, no problem. That should be the weather 90% of the time. Probably 95% of the time should be green. And then there's yellow alert, right? If anything, you throw out a yellow alert. Okay. It would line up with the Storm Prediction Center's slight risk. And then the red alert, as when I was in the discussion on developing this system, was to be reserved for the worst of the worst of the worst. You may get one a year, every couple of years, maybe. And it's for tornadoes. It's for massive flooding. It's for 3 feet of snow. Blizzard, widespread blizzard conditions. But for a thunderstorm? They did this, issued a red alert for Rochester, also the Finger Lakes, for thunderstorms. These people know no bounds. They will do anything to get your eyeballs. anything. And certainly they run away from controversy like you wouldn't believe. They haven't said a word about the ongoing investigation of the mayor. They haven't said a word. Wham 13's all over it. Wham 1180's all over it. They don't dare. They're afraid the mayor, the big bad mayor, is going to come after them. You should come after them. Anybody that watches them should come after them for garbage like this. Red alert! Red alert! Shut up. It's a thunderstorm. And there's no mention on here of the one risk that I think is legit. Flash flooding. There's no mention of flash flooding. That's the only risk there really is. These thunderstorms are not producing wind. Not much. These thunderstorms are not producing much, if any, hail. And we have seen zero evidence of tornadoes. But let's red alert, and don't mention the one thing that actually could be legitimate, which is rainfall. A tremendous amount of rain is falling from some of these storms. All right, there it is. I've ranted again. I'm done ranting. I'm finished. Let's take a final walk through, see what's happening, make sure I'm not missing anything. Should have another update coming from the Hurricane Center as well. See what they're doing with Laura. Here we go, 4 p.m. update. That's 5 p.m. Eastern time update. They've downgraded Laura to 50 mile per hour winds. Central pressure is at 991. So pressure continues to rise, as you would expect with a landfalling hurricane. There's a closer up look of what's left of that hurricane. Former hurricane. No, not this graphic again. That's my bad. Ugh. There you have it. And that's what's left. It's pretty to look at on satellite view. This system will continue to make its way off to the north and eventually northeast. This will not be affecting New York weather. It will be bringing some heavy rains, thunderstorms for the Ohio River Valley, across portions of the mid-Atlantic. But this kind of shows you the big picture here, where you've got a front that's sweeping in. It's going to keep everything south for now. Laura is going to kind of get moved up in this direction, moving safely south. But eventually, another disturbance shown here pushes another round of convection our way. This will occur tomorrow night, and as we head on into the weekend. The big question is, how will this affect our weekend? And I'll have a complete update on that coming up. That's Weather Live at 8:45 tonight. And we look forward to seeing you there. No big surprises. Another severe thunderstorm warning issued. This one from Binghamton, for Broome, Tioga, and Susquehanna counties. I believe somebody said I actually got that right, which is a bit of a surprise. And they do continue. This is out of Buffalo. A severe thunderstorm warning for Genesee, Livingston, Monroe, Ontario, Wyoming counties for 60 mile per hour winds and 1 inch hail. I'm going to do one thing before I leave here. And again, Jack, he noticed how they warned his area again. Not sure why. But I do want to look at one more, that thunderstorm. Well, there's a number of them, but again, none of them showing a ton of organization. None of them. Rainmakers. These are heavy rainmakers, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. All right, so I'm looking for the latest warning. Continues the one for Genesee. Oh, it's this one. For Monroe? You kidding me? It's not even in Monroe County. Not in Monroe County at all. Okay, so what's the big deal? Let's go to 2 panels here. And again, I'm investigating for winds. I see nothing more than 50 mile per hour, and that's elevated at 3,000 feet. That's not going to make it to the ground, and it's not severe even if it did. Hail, even the hail signatures have dried up. There's no hail, there's no wind, there's no tornado threat. There's no story here. It's rain, and there's a lot of rain in some areas, so we'll cover that. All right, coming up tonight during the big show, we will cover, again, recap today's weather events. We will talk about Laura and what happened last night, that Category 4 storm. My goodness, some of the damage. And we'll have pictures, maybe some video for you. And the radar that I was using to cover the storm last night, it went down right after I took my feed down. And I've got pictures of that radar. It's a National Weather Service Doppler radar out of Lake Charles, Louisiana. You should see the damage that was done from that storm. We'll cover that tonight. That's during the big show, Weather Live at 8:45. Thank you for being here. Pat, thank you very much for being here. Glad to be living in a farming community in Alto Monroe County. Well, we may soon be joining you, Pat. May very soon. As many of you know, we sold our house. We're looking to where we're going to be living next. And we may very well be enjoying some country living like you. I love that idea. But guess what? We get to do this show wherever we're at. So it's a beautiful thing. We will be doing the show right here tonight. That's Weather Live at 8:45. Guys, thank you very much for being here. My friends on YouTube, thank you. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. And we will be back, probably not on YouTube tonight, but on Facebook. That's Weather Live at 8:45-ish. We'll talk to you guys then. Love you guys. Bye.